Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Prioritise Britain. I'm your host, Hugh Anthony, and we've got a big show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about many different topics, including the Southampton protests. I refuse to call them riots, I will say they were protests. We're going to be going over Advance UK and Restore, with Ben Habib coming out today and saying that Advance will no longer function as a political party. And we're also going to go over the by election and give some thoughts on that. If we have any time, we have a lot to get through to today. So if not, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But I think that we may be able to slip forwards and talk about that first and foremost. Now, I got to say, it was kicking off while I was doing the show yesterday. Many of you will know the protest happened down in Southampton, and it was certainly kicking off. The later it got on in the evening, and I watched some of the clips after the show. I caught myself up on what had happened. So it was interesting scenes. They were all over Twitter, all over X, whatever you call it. There were a lot of people out there. I have some opinions about that. I have some opinions about the actions of people. I have opinions about the auditors that we're going to go over as well. But before we do that, just want to point out we've had some wonderful improvements here in the Prioritise Britain studio. I just want to say thank you to my team who's helped me today. We have some very big announcements. Number one, the studio is bigger. Anyone realize this? Look, I can go all the way over here, and then I can also go all the way over here. The studio is bigger. The green screen has been, I mean, not green screen, because we're definitely just in like an actual studio. It has been fixed. The lighting has been fixed. My hair shouldn't be green. It should be brunette, as the wonderful brunette man that I am. So everything has been back. Everything is in better form. People ask for better production. So it's all better production. I know that if I do that, it's still... But if I'm like... If I do this, if I do that, nothing's wrong. So, yeah, we worked on it. We had a few hours of trying to get this to work. I had to get it done as quickly as I could, because I think I can say this. I wasn't told I couldn't say this, but I recorded an episode of... There's a hue of green hair hue. Whatever. I recorded an episode of what's it called? With the guy Kevin Deanna, nice guy. Identity Politics, that's what it's called. We recorded an episode together. It was a good conversation. We spoke about the Southport riots. We spoke about British politics. I don't know when that's coming out, but it was like an hour and a bit long conversation. So thank you to Kevin for having me on. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but I thought it was going to be live. Turns out it wasn't live. It was pre-recorded. So I kind of announced that I was going on that at 5. I was going on there at 5, but it was pre-recorded. So, but I'll be on there. You'll be able to see me have a conversation on there. It was a very nice conversation. Kevin is a lovely man. Connections to Jared Taylor. Jared Taylor, the guy that was born in Japan, but is not Japanese. As he told me in person, actually, at Resum. I was speaking to Jared at Resum, actually, and I went, you're my favorite Japanese man. He went, as his mother always used to tell him, if you plant a carrot seed in a potato patch, it's still a carrot. I went, yeah, that's very true. So it was yeah, I've met some wonderful people over the last week or so, so it's pretty good. I also want to announce I'm not the most tech-savvy person, but we now have a second channel on YouTube, which you can find at Prioritise Britain. There are going to be 10, 15-minute clips of me doing a rant, a segment from the show, little clips of what I'm talking about. So if you want to find like a specific rant which I've been going on, or like a specific point or topic which I've been speaking about, you can find some on there. There are some things on there already regarding the system and the death of Henry Nowak, where I said this is exactly how the system intends to leave white people. It intends to kill us. So you can go and find that on the Prioritise Britain YouTube channel. If you search that in, it should come up somewhere. If not, go on to my main YouTube channel, go on to the post section, and you can find it there. I put it in there earlier, a link to the channel to watch all of those clips, because I know that sometimes people don't catch the main show, and it is an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of footage of me rambling about things. And sometimes people like to listen to a specific rant where I've been going on about a very specific topic. I know that we had a video go viral yesterday where I said, now is the time to look back in anger. Now is the time to be angry, to demand serious political change. A lot of people give me a lot of support over that, saying that's the kind of energy we need. And I know the temperature in the room. I know what the mood is like. I know what we need. And that is why it's time to have serious messaging about the future of Britain, the future of our people, and the future of the English, Scottish, Welsh, and Irish races, whilst we are being absolutely demographically replaced, murdered, pillaged, raped, assaulted, attacked, oppressed in our own homeland. Now is the time to stand up, and we'll get into all of that and my analysis on the Southport protest from last night. On top of that, I just want to say, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We are nearly at 10,000 subscribers. If you're not on YouTube, go onto YouTube, type in Hugh Anthony, and go hit a subscribe on that channel. We are about 13 followers, subscribers off of 10,000. I would like to hit that by tonight. I'm sure that we can. We've been doing this for just under a year now. We can definitely hit that. So if you are watching on any other platform, be it X, Rumble, or Kick, go over to YouTube, go hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well so you can see whenever I upload videos or go live. That is where I read the main chat. And carrying on from YouTube, I had one of my tech guys today. I'm not very good with this kind of thing, but he has set up a text-to-speech for me, a super chat text-to-speech. So if you would like to support the channel, support the show, support me, allow me to keep doing this kind of content, if you go onto YouTube and send a super chat, at the end of the show, we'll do a segment where your super chats get read out with text-to-speech. Please don't ask me stupid fucking questions or I might smash my head into a table. But we've added the super chat system now, so you can have your questions read out to me and see my honest reaction as if you were sat across asking it to my face. Half of you will probably make me slightly cortisol spike. Half of you will probably make me want to get a little bit heated. But last thing, if you want a mug, they're on the website. So with a hat, we've got mugs, hats, t-shirts, hoodies. Everything's on the website. We're looking at badges currently. I realize this as well with the badges, that when we go to the conferences, everyone's got a badge. So I've ordered some of those. We're looking at getting some Prioritise Britain badges in. And as Poulichon just said, also become a member of the channel. Very true. Very true. All your support helps me continue this show and keep it going so I can bring you honest, unfiltered opinions about the current climate in Britain. And I can give you full, unedited, raw rant straight from the heart about exactly what is going on. Anyway, let's get into the show. So we're going to start. I'm actually going to start on the Restore Advance UK, because this is something I can get done fairly quickly. It's going to be somewhat longer talking about the Southampton protests, because there was a lot of media backlash. We've had the Prime Minister's question times today, and it's been a very interesting atmosphere, with Starmer and Farage appearing to take the spotlight, Farage appearing to try and booster himself into the headline of being the protector of white people in this country, trying to speak directly to the young white men of this country, although we know Farage himself does not care about the young white men. He does not care about our demographic replacement. He could not even tell you who a British person was. So I have my opinions about that, and we'll get into that in a moment. But I just wanted to start on this. So Advance UK, Ben Habib, anyone doesn't know Ben Habib, it's the half Pakistani, half Englishman, the half-breed brown guy, who set up a party called Advance UK, which was supposed to be the counter to reform. He said that Farage can't lead whatsoever. He said that Farage is only in it for himself. He said he's only in it for his own pocket, and he's basically a snake oil businessman. And he set up this party. It got the attraction of people like Tommy Robinson, Nick Buckley. It was a very interesting mix. It was definitely not up my street. I wasn't a fan of it. Civnat slop, as we'll put it. And what we saw when Rupert set up Restore was Habib basically going out there and saying he's only set this up to split the vote. This is a terrible idea. Blah, 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 blah. You know, all the typical things when your party got less votes than the monster raving loony party in the Gorton and Denton by-election. And weirdly enough, right, and I'll say this personally, Nick Buckley was the best candidate in that by-election. I have spoke to Nick Buckley before. In fact, after that by-election, I went to the pub with Nick Buckley. We had a conversation about ethno-nationalism. We had a conversation about what it is to be British. And I will give Nick Buckley credit. He agrees with us. He knows exactly what it is. He knows the score. He is a good politician. He has a head on his shoulders. He has an understanding. So I can't doubt or critique Nick Buckley in the slightest. Who I can critique is Ben Habib. Who I can critique is his team, the supporters of Advance, because there was fundamentally no difference between Advance and Reform. They were both civic nationalists. They were both neoconservative. Neither of them could understand what an English person was. And frankly, it was a Civnat slot party. They were trying their absolute hardest to appear like a serious party around immigration, but they weren't serious. In fact, Ben Habib in recent months has gone on about the fact that he is British and that anyone can be British and that Britishness is a civic value. He's called himself a cultural nationalist, which doesn't even make sense. How can you be a cultural nationalist if your culture is downstream from your ethnic root? That makes no sense whatsoever. But he called himself a cultural nationalist. He said that he believes in the cultural values, the civic values of Britain and the British people. But again, I ask all of these people, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be a cultural nationalist? What is the British culture? People say it's like water, it's like a fish in the sea or just in the culture. But there is no clear-cut understanding of what that culture or these values are. And this is why, frankly, it doesn't even make sense. Frankly, there is no understanding about these things because everything is just a cultural factor. Everything is the same. How can we claim that a culture exists if there is no understanding of what it is? My understanding of British culture may be different from yours, but the same thing that we both share is our ethnicity. Our ethnicity is what makes us British. They say that a British value, a British standard is politeness and kindness and tolerance and respect. I'm not the most tolerant person in the world. I can be a bit of an arsehole. Does that make me less British? People like Charlie Downs have said before that it's to be Christian. Is it to be Christian? Are you telling me that my neighbor, who may be a pagan or an atheist, who may not subscribe to the Christian religion, are you telling me that they are less British than me? Even if their family has traced in these lands for the last 3,000 to 4,000 years, just because they have a different theological belief, does that mean that they're not British? And this is why I'm saying that there is no understanding of who the British people are. People do not want to tolerate who the British people are. They would like to pretend it is an idea, it is civic values, it is cultural values. That just doesn't even make sense. There is no clear basis of what our values are. Our values are a downstream of who we are as a tribe. I am an Englishman. I'm an Englishman because my family is English. I date back in these isles for thousands of years. That is what makes me English, not my tolerance, not my respect, none of that. Because this argument's ridiculous. This argument that someone is British or English or Scottish or Welsh or Northern Irish is simply a part of this country because of their values that they hold. Well, what about a newborn baby? What if your newborn baby is you just popped out the womb, right? Fully English ethnicity. Are you telling me that because that baby is unconscious to its being at this moment in time and holds no values, it makes them less British? It's a fundamentally stupid point to make. And this is the point that these people do make. This is the point that people like Ben Habib do make. He says it's a cultural factor. How does that even make sense? How on earth does that even make sense? There is no understanding of what this is, just saying it's a cultural factor. My culture is a product of my people, and my people are a product of tribalism and an ethnic group. So how are you trying to apply to me as a half-breed that I am not as English or not as British because the cultural factor, the cultural values that I hold are different to yours? That doesn't make sense whatsoever. So that's kind of who Ben Habib is, as a rundown of his party. He was born in Pakistan. He's a Pakistani man. And his understanding of being British is a feeling, really. That's what it is. It's a feeling. Oh, I feel like I'm subscribing to the right values. I feel like I'm subscribing to the right culture with no clear-cut basis. And I've said this before, and I've argued this many times before. Even this idea of respect as being one of the foundations of British culture and British values. Well, what's to say these groups of foreigners that come over and enclave themselves, and they put themselves in areas of Birmingham, areas of Luton, areas of Milton Keynes, London, Bradford, Leeds, Manchester. If they live in big enclaves together, then how on earth can you not claim they are being respectful? If they just live quietly on their own in their own segregated communities and don't see you. For example, the most clear example is people go on about not Keir Starmer, the Jews. Keir Starmer. The Jews, they go on about the Jews and they say, well, the Jews are respectful, they integrate, they get on with us, they don't cause any disruption. But also, on the other foot, the Jews segregate themselves into areas. They quite literally exist in their own bubbles. Golders Green is a Jewish area. It is full of Jews. You walk round, everyone's Jewish. They put up string on a Sunday so you can walk around. Now, by definition of respect and what people like to call respect, they are respecting the British people, because they are segregating themselves elsewhere. But what level of assimilation or integration is that? Is integration and assimilation simply being able to live alongside people without being a part of the community? Well, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense if you're saying that these people have adopted into the British culture, because they're still living as their own people. They're still living by their own set of rules. They still have their own police force. They still have their own ambulance service. They're still living separately to us. They may be respectful. They may be living next to us and not causing us disturbance, but how is that assimilation? How is that folding into our people, our country, our nation? How? And no one can give me a clear-cut answer on this. No one can tell me if I'm right. Because they're like, oh, I don't know, but it's British values, it's British culture. What is it? Nobody knows. It differs from person to person. Nick Tenconi would sit there and argue that it's Christianity. I will sit here and argue that it's your ethnicity. Ben Habib will sit there and argue that it's your culture. But who is correct? Well, obviously, if you're going by kind of a semantic idea of feelings and ideas towards people and a societal basis of what it is, then you're wrong. Ben Habib is wrong. Nick Tenconi is wrong. I am correct. I am correct because the values which I hold may be different to the values my neighbor holds, but my neighbor and I still share a common ancestry. That's what makes us British. That's what makes us English, Scottish, Welsh. That's what makes us who we are, not the fact that we subscribe to a value or a set of rules or abide by the law. People keep saying that to me as well. They're like, oh, as long as they're law-abiding citizens. If you fundamentally disagree with some laws, does that mean that you are not British? I don't agree with our speech laws. I don't agree with them. I don't agree with a lot of the rights that people have. Does that make me not British just because I disagree with the legislative branch? Really? That doesn't make any sense either. So when you try and complicate these issues, why when you try and make it this like complex taboo subject of values and culture, and you do a Ben Habib and you do a Nick Tenconi, you end up on this weird roundabout where you're continuously going round in circles trying to justify who is the same as you and who is not. Because also on the second foot, on the other foot, if you look at somebody like Based Bougie, and I'm saying this because Nick Tenconi has had an interaction with Based Bougie before where he's referred to her as the blue-blooded as in conservative. Does that mean that if you disagree with somebody fundamentally, you could have one of your best friends could be like the nicest person in the world. They could be extremely loving, extremely caring, extremely respectful. They could get on with you perfectly, but they could be a total communist. People argue that communism is anti-British, but does that mean that that person that subscribed to the communist ideology is less British than me simply because we have differing political views? Well, no, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And I argue this on a grand scale. Well, what's easier to rework in somebody's head? What's easier to deal with? Is it easier to reverse the demographic change of your country? What's easier? If you've got a country full of blue-blooded Africans compared to a country full of red-blooded English people, what do you think is easier to change? The ethnic group of that country and reverse it back to being the English people, or the ideological standpoint of those people? Obviously, it's the ideology. So all of these people that argue about the fact that we need to subscribe to ideological standpoints regarding this, that we need to deport people based on their ideas, based on their values, based on their culture, it's retarded. It doesn't even make sense. What we should be doing, is deporting people based on their ethnic group, based on whether or not they belong in these lands. You can deal with ideological basis. You can implement policy that deals with ideology. You can deal with schooling that makes it illegal to teach about certain ideologies. You can ban certain ideologies. All this argument about you can't ban some areas of free speech. Yes, of course you can. People were getting mad about Hassan Paikem and Czech Uyghur. And I said, I don't give a shit. And I don't. They come over here, they might be anti-Zionist, cool, but they're going to come over and spread left-wing ideology, which is fundamentally harmful to the British people and the British way of life and the future of the British race. I don't care if they're banned. I think they should be banned. I don't care if we share the same struggle about Zionism and an anti-Israel rhetoric. What I care about is the fact that these people are trying to subvert my people into extinction. So there's ways you can deal with ideologies. It doesn't have to be all sunshine and rainbows. And everyone likes to pretend like, oh, it's free speech. You need to let it be said. Well, no, fuck off. Absolutely not. And I said this to people. I said this about transgenderism, for example. Transgenderism is allowed under our law and a protected speech because it classifies as free speech. It should be banned. The book should be burnt. It is a harmful ideology. It is a grooming ideology to children. But those morons that will sit there and argue for absolute free speech are subsequently arguing for transgenderism and communism and Marxism to be ideologies which should and allowed to be taught in our society. I disagree with that. I don't think that's right. I want to look after the future of my people. And if this ideology is fundamentally harmful, well, of course not. Now, again, going back to values, that technically goes against the British values. Ben Habib would have an issue with me saying that. Why? Why? Why is there an issue with me saying that? Why is there an issue with me saying that I don't believe in absolute free speech? Does that make me less British? Well, no. No, of course it doesn't. Because I am a Brit. So when people like Ben Habib are trying to join Restore and trying to gain some form of role inside of Restore, that's a fundamentally terrible thing for a party like Restore, who, bearing in mind, and I know Carl argued with me last week, Carl Benjamin, and I know Carl was not happy with me when I said that Restore should just come out as a nationalist party. It's better. It's better for everybody. And what happened afterwards? Charlie Downs comes out and he says Restore's nationalist. I was right. I said they should do that. And they did that. And that's what you should do. And I know I went over the understanding of what I believe to be nationalism. And I know that he links it back to the French Revolution. And I don't necessarily. I just see it as an extension of tribalism. I see it as the physical reality and understanding of who I am in a society and what a society is built upon. But Restore have now labelled themselves as a nationalist party. That is from the key spokesperson, Charlie Downs. So if they've labelled themselves a nationalist party, why would you want somebody like Ben Habib, who may fold Advance to not stand against you? But from the messaging that I can see online, with Rupert's big tweet talking about Advance and saying that Ben is welcome within the party and shares the same vision for Britain, well, no, he does not if you're a nationalist party. But on top of that, it sounds very much so like hinting towards giving him a role within the party. He should be able to join as a member, you can't stop that. But if we're alluding to the point that he can have a role within the party, we are fundamentally putting yourselves at a subverted point of view. So I don't understand where the reality of that situation is. I don't understand why you would want someone like Ben Habib, who, bearing in mind, 2 months ago, was saying that Restore had gone full tilt racist, by the way, because his precious little Baraka, everyone knows Baraka, right? Massive forehead, terrible hairline, very foreign. His precious little Baraka, who for some reason was like a spokesperson for Advance, was saying that he's not allowed in Restore because of who he is. And they called Restore full tilt racist. It was a leaked voice note. He was flaming Rupert Lowe, saying that Rupert Lowe was putting ego above party. And I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is very, very simply about Ben Habib. The man is a careerist. He claims to be no different from Farage. But if you actually look at the timeline of events, you went from seeing the local elections being swept in Great Yarmouth by Restore, Ben Habib then coming out and saying, congratulations, that's very impressive and all of that. And from that, Ben Habib's now folded his party. Bearing in mind, Habib stood candidate in the local elections. He tried to be a part of the local elections and he failed drastically, astoundingly. And now, when he realizes that his party is in the water, his response is, we'll stand aside and we'll let Rupert do it. Now, to me, that seems like he recognizes that his little project failed, that people actually reject cultural nationalism. And his response to that is, well, I want a role in Restore, so if I fold it and appear to be sucking up to Rupert after congratulating him on the local election win, after endorsing his candidate in Makerfield and now folding the party, it seems like he's trying to gun for a position in Restore. Bearing in mind, Habib was very big on the Iran war. He said that we should be involved in the Iran war. He said that he stands with Israel. He's a massive Zionist. He's a careerist. He's a half-breed. To me, that just seems like key subversion. That just seems like you are allowing a subversive careerist rat into your ranks. And I don't know if Restore are going to give him a position. I think the backlash is going to say no. There's a theory that the people that run Rupert Lowe's Twitter, Restore's Twitter, were reading the comment under Rupert's post. You had people like Steve Laws, people like me, people like Zuma Historian, fundamentally saying, no, that is a terrible thing. Do not let him into Restore. And there's been a theory that the people watching that are seeing if the nationalist backlash, because if they do, they might go with it to try and get us out without kicking up a fuss. My fear on top of that as well, look who was part of Advance. Tommy Robinson. You want Tommy Robinson? He's already shouting about Rupert, shouting about Restore. He will openly, when Advance stands down, which it is, he will openly start trying to get himself in the forefront of Restore. And if Ben Habib gets appointed, if Ben Habib gets a role in that, what's to stop Tommy? What's to stop Alistair putting him forwards? What's to stop somebody like Scott Benton supporting him? It's a ridiculously stupid thing to do because it is allowing Tommy to have a chance at being part of Restore, the most subversive nationalist in the entire movement, the man that brags about bringing in Sikhs, bringing in Hindus. The man is a cook through and through, and he's used on purpose as either a Shabbos goy or an intelligent figure for Mossad. I'm not speculating either one. I think it's more of the Shabbos goy. I just think he's a moron. Hence the cheap at any price comment from Steve Bannon and Jeffrey Epstein's text messages. But it's allowing somebody like Tommy Robinson to have the chance at being inside of Restore. And then what? You think Tommy Robinson's going to be, if he gets a role in Restore, do you think he's going to be happy with people like me, Steve Laws, and Zuma? Well, no. He's called me a Nazi wrong. He said that he can't wait to bump into me. He said if he sees Steve Laws, that it's on site. This man should not be trusted anywhere near that party. And by allowing Habib in, you are opening up the door for the potential of somebody like Robinson to join in. That is fundamentally stupid. That is fundamentally destructive. That will lead to Restore killing itself. That is suicide. Ben Habib should be restricted from being able to gain any form of power inside of Restore. He should not be given a role. I do not care if he folded his party. I do not care if he congratulated Rupert. I do not care if he endorsed Rebecca Shepherd. He is fundamentally subversive. He is not the same as us, and all he's trying to do is look after himself. That is proof this man should not be trusted. And especially with the Tommy thing. I mean, moving on to Southampton, yesterday Tommy turned up to the Southampton protest. He gave speeches. He said it's enough. He said we need to look after the white people of this country. Tommy Robinson is the same guy calling for the importations of Sikhs. Is the same guy that said to Tyler Oliveira that if the area that they were driving through turned Sikh, it would be fine because they assimilate and they'd still be British. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is no proof or substance to that claim that it would still be British. These people are fundamentally different. Tommy spent his entire career blaming Islam and blaming illegal migrants when the real problem is all foreigners, not just the Islam foreigners, not just the boat foreigners, the legal ones, the Sikh ones, the Hindu ones, the Islam ones, every single one. That is the issue. And somebody like Robinson likes to try and gaslight you and push it to the side and pretend like it's just the ones in the boat. Like it's just the Muslims. Bullshit. It's all of them. And I'll tell you why it's all of them. Because they will never be the same as us and they will never view us the same. They never have. They never will. They've never tried to. Why do you think, for example, you want to link them together? Let's link them together. Why do you think in the Rotherham rape gangs, they all worked as a community to hide up the horrendous crimes? Why do you think they worked as a basis to hide up the crimes? They did it on purpose because they know damn well that if they work together, they are different from the white man. They can work against the white man and the white man can't retaliate against them. Now let's put that with the De Wigger family. The De Wigger family, once he had stabbed Henry, his mum hid the knife, they dragged his body to the front, they already tried to hide the evidence and make up a lie about racism. Why? Because fundamentally they're different from the poor white boy that's bleeding out on the fucking cold hard ground. That's the difference. Every single foreigner shows you the same thing. They're not all Muslims. 6% of the UK population are Muslims. 30% of the UK population are foreign. So where does the other 24% come in? Most of the people coming over, they come from like North Africa, Eritrea, Nigeria. They're Christians. They are Christian nations. You do get Muslims from the Middle East, but you're looking at a lot of Christians coming in. You're looking at a lot of Sikhs and Hindus coming in illegally over the border, usually via plane and overextension of their visas. You are looking at the Muslims coming in from the Middle East. Fundamentally, these groups are all different and look out in their own self-interest every single time. So when you've got subversives like Robinson, is it not the Dweger family? Dweger? I don't know. Fucking... We'll just call them the Sikhs. Hide and seek, right? We'll call them the Sikhs. Dweger, Digwa. Is it Digwa? I think it might be Digwa. I don't fucking know. They're just brown. I don't give a shit. I'm so in trouble for that. Anyway. But when you've got all of these groups that work in their own interests, that work against the white interests, that don't care about us because they don't see us as fundamentally the same. And then people like Robinson try and pretend like they assimilate. They don't fucking assimilate. There is no such thing as assimilation. How can somebody that is not part of our tribe and is loyal to another tribe ever be part of our tribe or loyal to our tribe? It doesn't even make sense. Digwa is Digwa. Okay, thank you. Thank you for correcting me. But it doesn't even make sense. Dweger. Sorry, I was thinking of a slur. So that was a joke. Well, it's not. They kind of deserve it. But it doesn't even make sense. And people like Tommy try and sit there and blow down the flames. And he has the gumption, the audacity to turn up to Southampton and try and hijack that protest yesterday. This scumbag has been one of their biggest advocates for Sikh immigration into this country. This scumbag has sat there and he has said multiple times that black people can be English. He said that Muslim people are also as British as us. He said that his Muslim friends are the exact same. He attacks people like me and Steve Laws because we would fundamentally deport people that he cares about, in his own words. Fuck you. This guy turns up to a protest and tries to hijack it. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was one of my American friends, and they were like, Tommy's off to jail soon, isn't he? And I was like, maybe. I fucking hope so. And I mean that nicely. And I don't care if that makes people mad at me. But I mean, I hope he is. I hope that when he has his court case in October against these journalists, he is imprisoned. Because he's a fucking subversive rat. He has done more damage to the nationalist scene than anybody. Him and Nigel Farage contested, probably. But he has done so much damage to the nationalist scene. He has fundamentally put us back 25 years. He claims credit for everything. He claims credit for the grooming gang scandal being pulled out. That was the BNP. The BNP were exposing this back in the 1980s, and Tommy tries to come along and pretend like it was him that did it. This man is a subversive rat that will hijack anything and play dumb to any of his past claims. He has fundamentally said that he would be fine with certain areas of white British people being replaced by Indian Sikhs simply because they're just as British as us, bro. Fuck you. And I have to sit here and pretend like, number one, he's fine with joining Restore. Number two, I'm fine with him at these protests pretending and subverting nationalists. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's scumbag behavior. He is a scumbag and he should be stepped over. And I watched the footage yesterday. of the Southampton protests, and I gotta say, I don't advocate you do that. I think it's stupid to use your anger throwing plant pots at the police and throwing bins that are on fire. That's just ridiculous. But I understand the anger. I understand the frustration. I understand the rage. I can condemn the actions, but I am not condemning the rage. I am not condemning the anger of people. I get it. I understand why the British people are so pissed off. And their anger, their rage, their fury is not the cause, it is the symptom. It is the symptom of a system which fundamentally hates white people and is leading to our extinction, rape, murder, and demise. I am not going to condemn their anger. The one thing that the government always fails to recognize, the one thing that the system always fails to recognize, is these protests always happen because there is a fundamental disalignment between the way in which this country is going and the way that we want it to go. The people that were there because a white man was killed by a foreigner. They watched the video of an 18-year-old white boy preaching out for help whilst his murderer lied about an alleged racist attack with no evidence. There is no evidence even to this day. We watched a white race traitor police officer throw him to the ground, drag him across the concrete, tell him, "I don't think you have me," when Henry begged for help, saying that he had been stabbed. And this police officer says, "I don't think you have, mate." And then handcuff and read out his rights to a corpse. And I think what's more infuriating about the video is the way that instead of checking Henry's health and making sure that he was okay, which is their job to do, if your suspect says that they are injured, you are supposed to check if they are injured. Instead of doing that, the police officer's response was to go up to the Sikh guy, the Indian guy, and ask if he was okay. I don't give a fuck if he's okay. What? And you wonder why the people in Southampton are angry. You wonder why they're angry. You wonder why they're pissed off. And I've listened to what the Prime Minister said. I've listened to what the politicians have said. And I've got a few critiques here that I want to make. Number one, saying Henry's dad said he doesn't want to steer the flames of division. Yes, he's going to say that because if he was to say anything otherwise, he would be attacked by the media and there would be a hate campaign after him. Of course he's going to say that. Of course he's going to say that. I do not care what the foreign-owned media companies have to say about Henry's dad's reaction. I do not care. The fundamental reality is the system which has been employed has led to a white guy be oppressed and dismissed to the point where he drowned in his own blood, gasping for help on the cold, hard pavement of some stranger's home because some foreigner screeched racism. That is the fundamental understanding of this case. I am not going to sit and pretend like I give a flying fuck about what Henry's dad said, because I know damn well, and I've read the Southampton Times saying that a lot of Henry's friends were there yesterday at the protest with his family watching the live streams. I do not give a fuck what the media says, because I know damn well Henry's dad would have been forced into saying something along those lines, and it is fundamentally a result of a system that hates us. It wants, and this is what people need to get into their head. The system that we have at play does not like you one bit. There is nothing about it that likes you nor you can justify. The system that we have, the laws that we have, the police service that we have, the legislative branch that we have, the courts that we have, the invasion that we have, they hate white people. They systematically want to kill us. This is it. White people either sit back and allow it to happen and allow us to be rolled over and allow us to be killed and allow us to be exiled. We either allow that to happen or we stand up for ourselves, for our racial group, for our future, for our kids, and we demand change. We take political power. We do what every other group does, and we vote based on our racial interest. How about that? You either, and I mean this nicely, and I say this to all the white people out there, you either fight for change, serious change, a political situation which works for us, with a political system which works for us, or you die. It is as simple as that. It is at no expense of what they are trying to do. Look at what they've always done. Look at the world wars. Look at the current wars. Look at the prison system. Look at the legislation that punishes you. Every single thing has worked against white people. Every single time. That is why people are mad. That is what we saw in the video. And in fact, it's quite poetic, and I don't mean this nicely. I mean this as a tragedy, not a tragedy, but a cold, hard murder. It is poetic that the white man will be the one that dies at the hands of a system upheld by other white people and ran by foreigners. That is what Henry's death has shown. Your system works against you. It works for your destruction. It works in the interest of the invaders. So I understand the anger of the protesters in Southampton. I think the anger is misdirected into events like last night rather than serious political change and tribalism and nativism and action and communitarianism. I think that's what we should be using the anger on, but I completely understand the rage and the anger, and I will not disavow the fury that my people feel right now. I will not disavow that. And what you've had is people like Kemi Badenoch come out and say that she doesn't want to hear about White Lives Matter and that this was a tragedy, but we shouldn't use it for division. We're already divided. You want the truth? We're already divided. And I'll tell you why we're already divided. We are already divided because we have a country built of people that are not us, and they know that. That is division regardless. There is nothing you can bring to fix that. There is no understanding of a cultural identity or a national identity or a civic identity to change that. There is nothing you can do about that unless you remove these people from the country, unless you put forward a series of policy that leads to re-migration. That is only way in which it works. And if you're not going to listen to that, you will end up in a diverse country that fundamentally hates one another and will attack each other. I would rather we avoided that. I don't want to get to that situation. But denying this, living by Starmer's rule and denying this and saying that's just not fair, we should just be accepting one another and being tolerant. Fuck you. Honestly, fuck you. I'm sick to death of people subverting it. And this is what's pissing me off right now, is the person that should be taking the mantle with this, the person that should be taking the reins is Rupert Lowe. And I know that he said that he would put the Sikh guy to the death penalty. I know that he said he would deport his family. But it should be Rupert Lowe that is taking the reins and sticking up for the white people and saying, white lives matter. We are being killed in our own homeland. This system wants to kill you. It should be Rupert that is standing up and saying that. But it's not Rupert. It's Nigel Farage. And Nigel Farage is the biggest con man there is. This man has quite literally said on multiple different occasions he doesn't care about what English identity is. He doesn't really care about what Britishness is. He only cares about those that have citizenship and the economic output of Britain. That is it. That is it. He's a con man, but he's using this situation to bolster his popularity. And this is what Rupert should be doing. Rupert should not be sitting there agreeing with Kemi Badenoch. Rupert's the same man that sat there on a Christmas address and spoke directly to the young white men of this country. He should be talking to every white person of this country. This is a systematic oppression of our people, and it's going to kill us. And I don't get why he's not doing that. And what pissed me off actually yesterday watching this, and I'll tell you this, and I know a lot of people here watch auditors, and I'm gonna say something directly to the auditors. What the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry, but I watched a stream last night, and I heard auditors bragging about pumping out videos so they can earn as much money as they can out of this situation. They're not blurring out faces. They're not protecting their own people. They are quite literally giving the government and the police facial recognition for these people. And a lot of them are not there for any form of disruption. They are there just because they care enough about our people. They are the people that I side with. I side with the ones that care about our people and want to show their support, not the ones that go there to cause a mess. But by putting their face there, you are putting them in legal disparities. What, so you can earn a quick buck, so you can walk around and get super chats whilst you're giving all of these people's facial recognition away? And I heard directly from a source today, a personal source, and I'm not going to reveal my the identity of these people because I'm going to keep it private, but they're using Palantir facial recognition technology to find out who was there. Our people are now in danger because you've walked around with a camera filming them so you can pump out a video for money. You fucking scumbag. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I didn't like how they were sat there talking about, you know what they were bragging about? I heard people bragging, oh, a few people are going to get arrested now, but it's all right because it helps, it gets the movement out there. Are you fucking serious? You know we're being systematically oppressed and harmed. And your response is, oh, it's fine if they get arrested because at least I'm going to earn some money out of it and it helps the movement. These people should not be taken seriously. These people are not our friends. They are working for the people that want us oppressed and imprisoned. And I'm not endorsing any form of disruption or public disorder. Do not do that. If you go to these protests, be sensible, be civilized, put your voices out there, demand political change, demand a way forward, show your anger, show your rage, show your passion and frustration. Do not go there to record for money. It is the scummiest thing to do. You do not use this form of tragedy of this 18-year-old boy that was murdered in the cold blood by a foreigner and the system for monetary gain. If you do that, you're a fundamental scumbag. By all means, do it at the protests about deport the illegals. Do it at a UKIP protest. Do it at a Britain First protest. They're different. That's just demanding a political solution, which is remigration. Do not do it at a protest for justice about a young man that had his life stripped away from him. You are a fucking disgrace if you did that, and I have zero respect for anybody that went there to do that and then bragged about it, shouting, pump out the video, pump out the video. You know who did that? AY Audit. In fact, he threatened to copyright strike me because I was sent a clip of Wendell. You know the guy that works for Tommy Robinson? and unite the kingdom. I was sent a video of Wendell getting pissed off that young Bob was there. So I just put online, it's a 10-second clip. I just said, why is Wendell so mad that young Bob is in Southampton? That was it. And I listened to a clip where AY Audit says, tell your friend Hugh Anthony, I'm going to copyright strike him. Why do you just care about fucking money, you fat slob? Is that it? And you can send this to AY Audits. I don't give a shit. You're a fat fucking stupid slob. You disgusting human being using a young 18-year-old white boy's death for fucking money. You piece of shit. Fuck you. Fuck any of you that did that. Honestly. You disgusting fucking human beings. Is that all my people are worth to you? I don't classify you in the same boat as me. I classify you as a Tommy Robinson, as a fucking traitor that would sell us out for money. Is that all my people are worth to you? Is a bit of fucking money in your bank account? You're already rich as it is. You walk around with your fucking stomach hanging out, you fat fucking disgusting slobs, demanding, oh, tune in, guys, tune into our show. Oh, cheers for the super chat. Send more super chats. Subscribe to us. Send us more money. You don't do anything. You're stupid. You're fundamentally stupid. You have no understanding of what's going on. You just exploit tragedy for your own financial gain. You're a disgusting human being, all of you. I was so pissed off seeing that. I was so pissed off seeing that. It's disgusting that you would do that. How would you feel, and I mean this nicely, how would you feel if it was your son that was murdered and then at his protest, people were sat there recording it, go, guys, send us super chats, send us more money, guys, send us super chats. Oh, we don't care if these people get arrested. We want money out of it. How would you feel? There's a serious lack of morality on this side of the political spectrum. And these people are not the same as us. Really, they're not the same as us. These people have no understanding. They're sellouts. They're scumbags. They're freaks. They're just freaks. I have no interest in being nice to these people. I find it pathetic. I find these people as worse as Tommy. I find it on the same wavelength. And these are the people. And listen, I don't know these people personally. I've met some of them in person a few times. Not a big fan. I've seen AOI Audit say before and slag me off and say that he wouldn't trust me around kids. I wouldn't trust you around kids, you fat bitch. I'm sure you'd probably try and fucking consume them. Like, what is this? Shove them in a fucking cage after winding them up with food. Hansel and Gretel. These are the people. They're not on our side. They don't understand. They've got nothing about it. They don't understand. They don't care. They don't care. You know what? I might get passionate. I might get sweary. I might be a bit of an arse sometimes. But I do care. You can't tell me I don't care. This means everything to me. My people mean everything to me. And to see this is the reaction from these people, it infuriates me to the nth degree. And your response is, oh, I'm going to copyright strike him because he used a 10-second clip asking why some African man is mad at Wendell. Bearing in mind, I don't fucking like Wendell either. Wendell bullied young Bob for being friends with me, so he can also go fuck himself. So I guess my warning for people at these protests, for the normal person at this protest that's simply there to show their solidarity, to show their care, to show their frustration against the oppressive system that wants to kill you. My advice for you is, look, protect your identity. Please protect your identity. You have to. You have to, because not only are the police using Palantir against you and using facial recognition to try and punish you, not for rioting, but for simply showing care and solidarity and respect towards Henry. But the auditors are also selling away your freedom, selling away your identity to this very system that seeks to oppress all of us, to kill and replace all of us. They're selling it away because they think that them earning an extra penny is more worth than you being safe and protected. So for anyone that's going, I recommend that you use your time in political matters. I recommend that you use your time from these situations trying to benefit the country politically, trying to encourage nativism, collectivism, tribalism. That's what I advocate you use your time, your anger, your rage in, because that's how we build a movement. That's how we build grassroots movements. I wouldn't recommend throwing plant pots at people. I don't endorse that whatsoever. But if you are going to go to these protests and you're there to peacefully protest and show your frustration against the system, protect your identity, because even those that you think are on your side will sell you out for a quick buck. And that is sadly the reality we're in. That's not love. That's not love. That's not compassion with your people. That's not solidarity. That's scumbag behavior. These people are scumbag. So I wasn't happy about that. I wasn't happy about that. But what can you do about it? People are in this game because they want money. These people are grifters. I know, like, people like me get called a grifter all the time, but I would never even dream about doing that. So, oh, Richard Inman hijacked it as well. Yeah, I'm not fucking surprised. That guy's a weirdo as well. He called me like a fairy or something like that. Richard Inman's a fucking loser. Anyway, we'll get on to the chat. We'll see what's going on. I want to test out the new super chat feature. Let's see if I can get that working. Let me get myself ready for the new super chat feature. I think it should be working. If you want to get your question read out, it comes through here as well. Hold on. Right, this is a test. I hope this works. You guys are going to have to tell me if you can hear it. You guys are going to have to tell me if you can hear it. I look like I've got hearing aids in, but I guarantee you I do not. I promise you I do not. Right, let's have a look. I really hope this works. Hold on. Right. Is this going to work? Wait. Hold on.
At Lewis Salisbury. Donated $2.68. Testing.
It does work. W, we got it working. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Please don't be Bob. It's Bob. How did I know that would be Bob? Thomas, wait. You know I'm live right now. He always does this. He always fucking rings me whenever I'm in the middle of a show. I'm like, wait, bro, just chill out. Just chill out. Could you hear it? I just want to make sure it worked. Could you all hear it? Could you all hear it? I will get to the rest of the chat. I've got some things to go over. Very ranty. You did hear it. W. All right, base. We now have a text-to-speech system that works in. I'll see if the next one pulls up. All right, let's go. Okay, well, it just broke again. Great.
At Lewis Salisbury. Donated $13.44. If you were campaigning in Makerfield with good patriots in Restore but a UTK and Tommy Robinson worshipping, how do you convince them face to face to snap out of it without hardening their position?
Well, you fundamentally, if you're going to look at like Tommy's position and you're going to look at how to convince people to move away from that, the best suggestion that I can give you is these people view him, and Lewis, you've worked in the BNP, you know this, these people view him as the Messiah because they think he's responsible for exposing the grooming gangs. They think he's responsible for dealing with like the boat situation and the UTK thing. But again, the best way you can do it is by, number one, give them your knowledge of the BNP. Tell these people it was the BNP that was dealing it in the 1980s. But there's subtle ways you can get people to understand. Now, if you ask most people what makes an English person, they'll probably say a white person. Or you can at least make them understand that it's a white person. Hugh has gone left. Are you fucking retarded? What do you mean Hugh's gone left? Are you like mentally retarded? Are you fucking stupid? What do you mean Hugh's gone left? How the fuck is Hugh gone? Oh, it's a woman. That makes sense. That makes sense. Anyway, the best thing you could do is, number one, show them the facts about these things. You know the facts. But talk to them about like demographic replacement. Talk to them about the fact that, you know, black people can't be English. English people are an ethnic group. and that we are a specific ethnicity. And then Tommy has said before openly that black people can be English. He said that Muslim people are all English as well, and that's just not even true. That's just bullshit. It's like you have to be able to show these people. This guy is not even on your side. He has no understanding about who we are as people. So you got to show them that he has no idea. I mean, like all of his rug pulls, like the UTK coin rug pull, complete fucking scam anyway. So. And the English accent is nice. Yeah, I added an English accent to it. I made sure to get that out as well. I'm Irish and I get the idea to express English are white people. I understand what you mean. Well, of course they are. Like, fundamentally, we are white. Like, we are white on top of that. What is Brenda on about? Hugh's left. How the fuck am I left wing? Where the fuck did you get that from, you spaz? What do you mean Hugh's left wing? Are you actually retarded? Like, Brenda's like a fucking 70-year-old woman's name as well. Like, have you taken your medication, love? Like, what is that? Because I don't like Tommy, you think Tommy's right fucking wing? Tommy's a grifter. Is that it? Like, what do you mean Hugh's gone left? How the fuck have I gone left? One of my friends that was at the protest yesterday, he's blowing up on social media at the minute, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's a literal Nazi. Based. I'm joking. But I'm just like, okay. NRP popping off? NRP popping off? I don't know. Maybe it's the NRP's time. Rise up, NRP. Rise up, Yerbury. This is the time we stand with Yerbury. Maybe that's what we needed. I don't know. Hugh's becoming more and more of a Fuentes clone. Listen, people have been asking for the super chats, and you got to understand as well, I do all of this for free. This is my job. So I know that Mark Collette does them as well, but he has it where like he will he will read them out, and I was like, I can't be asked to read out everything. I'm just lazy, to be honest. I'm just lazy with that. But yeah, anyway, I gotta say, I know that Fuentes gets on. I actually I watched a few clips of his response to the Henry Nowak thing, and I actually spoke to Fuentes about the Henry Nowak thing, and I was just like, look, like it's just this is the system that we have, and it's like. Actually, I was slagging off Tommy. That's what I was doing. I was like, this guy's a scumbag that's subverting it. He doesn't even give a shit. That's what I was doing. That's what I was telling Fuentes. That's what I was telling Fuentes. But he is. I'm like, Tommy is. He's like fundamentally my enemy. He's like fundamentally my enemy. I'm like, he is like my arch enemy. NRP, yeah, I saw that. Tommy is my arch enemy, right? Tommy and I'm like the Perry the Platypus with Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He's trying to like, come up with all these schemes and these plans and these innators, and I just keep like intertwining. What's my opinion on White Vanguard? They got to cut out the whole like, NSN cosplay, because look how well that worked out in Australia. Look, Kai Cunningham's not a fan of me. I don't care. I offered Kai to come on the show, and he said no. Well, he always like snipes from like Twitter, at like Steve or me, and I was like, just come on the show. I was like, if you don't like me, just come on the show. Let's just have a conversation, right? I said this to him. I was like, let's just talk, and he was like, no. I was like, well, then you just I said on public Twitter, come on my show. You can call me what you want. You can say what you want. I will let you even promote White Vanguard. We can discuss this. And in all fairness, I knew he wasn't going to take it, right? I knew he wasn't going to take it because ego gets in the way. And I don't think he realizes, but that makes him look worse. I give him the option to come on the show, and it just doesn't work. So I don't know. He wouldn't take it. NSN's the best movement. Hold on. Someone's just messaged me saying... Yeah, NSN is also banned, so... The NSN's also banned, so nice movement you got there. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's stupid. Guys, we are 2 subscribers away from fucking 10K on YouTube. Subscribe right now or I'm going to deport you. Subscribe right now or I'm going to deport you. I'm going to deport anyone that's not subscribed. If you're not subscribed, you're brown. We are 2 followers away. Come on. We've been doing this. We're about to hit 10K in the first year of doing YouTube. That's base. Kai Stevens. No, I like Kai. Me and Kai Stevens get on. Kai Cunningham. They're different Kais. Everyone's called Kai. Yeah, the thing is, I don't really have unsubscribe. Fuck you. Do I watch Jake Monroe? No, I don't. No, I don't. I know of Jake, but I don't watch him. Please deport me. All right. All right. Hugh Storm will be able to keep his hands still. No, I talk my hands all the time. What time is the door giveaway? Oh, okay. Is everyone just fucking retarded? Low-key unsub for the jokes. If you unsubscribe, I'm going to quit. Okay, who the fuck unsubscribed? Who unsubscribed? I'm quitting. I will quit. I will quit. Don't think I won't quit. Don't think I won't quit. Not the Douglas of Murray. Bro, Douglas Murray, really? Not the gay Zionist. Are we doing that right now? I will quit. Although Civ Naps be flooding over to load. That's also an issue, yeah. Just unsubbed. All right, whatever. All right. Yo, we hit 10K. Yo, right. Somebody, right. We'll what do I do for 10K? I don't know what I do for 10K. Everyone's going to unsubscribe now. I know how it's going. If you guys unsubscribe, I'm going to lob you at the police. I will throw you personally at the police. That was a joke. That was a joke. I'm going to get told off for like incitement. Listen. Okay, you can stop unsubscribing now. You can stop unsubscribing now, you bitches. I think, hold on. Why is there a song called Reform UK? Play Madonna. Oh, do we do that? I hope you can hear this. I'm going to get copyrights right now on my YouTube. It's fine. 10K! 10K followers. We're making progress. 1 year. 1 year of doing this. W's in the chat. I want to see W's in the chat. I've got really stiff shoulders, right? I've got really stiff shoulders. W10K. Bangers, boys, bangers. Are we live or have I crashed? Oh, don't tell me it didn't go live on fucking Rumble. Did it go live? I think it did, right? Oh, no, it did. Go on, Madonna. We were all here. We were all here for the 10K. It didn't happen when I was asleep. We were all here. I love this song, actually. I can't lie. Check my DMs. I never do this on stream. Very serious political commentator, by the way. What do you mean, check my DMs? There's nothing on my DMs. Is that Richard? I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I think that we, with it being a 10K subscriber special now, I think that we're going to leave it there. We'll leave it on the 10K. We'll leave it on the motion. We'll leave it on the motion, right? We'll leave it on the motion. I think actually, we leave it on the motion. I'll be back tomorrow with another show. Thank you very much for 10K. I do appreciate it. W's in the chat. We are winning. Total Aryan victory. Total Anglo victory incoming. We're winning. We got the motion. We got the movement. We're taking over. Prioritise Britain is inevitable. We are going to win. We're on a track right now. I can feel it. I can feel the motion. So based. All right, guys. I'm going to catch you all tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. I'll be back tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Take care of yourself. That was a joke. That was a joke. That was a joke.